What's going on? It's been a minute. Sorry I've been gone for kind of longer than normal. Had a lot of life changes, new hair, new studio space, new ring. Like, it's just kind of life got a little ahead of me. So I wasn't really able to make as much content as I normally do. I wasn't able to break down songs, to share music. I've kind of just been really busy. I released a song May-ish, called Double Down. I love it to death. Like, it's one of my favorite songs I've ever made. And I just haven't got to share about it. I haven't got to talk about it. I haven't got to nerd out about it. And there's a lot of really cool things in this song that I want to talk about and I want to share. So let's dive into the production. The song originally started with, I had just bought the Shearwater piano thing. And I think I was just exploring, I think that's really where this song came from. I was exploring the Shearwater piano and trying things out with it. I was exploring presets, saw this pad, tried it out. It became the staple of the song. So that sounds like this. And so after I got that pad down, I probably jumped straight to drums, or I did drums first. So I had the synth, and then I started to work on the drums. And these drums are not very complicated at all. It's kind of like a DnB groove. So it started like as a almost like it's like a garage beat a little bit, but it didn't start like that. It kind of started as if you guys don't know, I'm a jazz musician by trade, and so it started as kind of like this jazzy kind of like DnB jazz type thing, just by having the drums and the synth, and I had this kind of vibe. Very simple, basic drum beat. Normally, like, I do a lot of layers, and I can really get into the weeds, but my drums are really simple. It's a loop and a snare and a kick, nothing else. I do like add a little bit of other texture changes and stuff as the song develops, but that's the backbone of the drum beat. And you could tell that, like, I like to write to simple things, and then I added a bass to that. So just keys, bass, and drums. I had this. Was great for me. That was really dope. So I had a great foundation, and what I liked about it was I know that that's a UK garage drum feel, so I already know that I'm in the dance space. But what was cool about it was there was also a sense of space, and like it felt floaty and empty in a good way, and I liked that feeling. And so now I can go back to the synths and kind of explain to you guys what my thought process from there was, because now I like the floaty and the empty. So I'm just trying to think about how can I keep the floaty and the empty, but develop the song. The bass is like simple 808. Like it's quieter in the verses, gets louder in the choruses, but it's just an 808, nothing crazy. And so yeah, so I get to the synths, and because I knew I wanted to keep the space, I had to be really sensitive with what I added and what I didn't add and things like that. So that kind of led me down this path. Started with a little high string though. That makes things beautiful. That adds layer. So I add this high synth the high synth obviously just kind of really makes you feel like you're on top of the club, low key. So that elevates this feeling of openness that I was going for. And so I kept that high synth. It kind of fades in, and then I added these synth plucks. And then the last piece thing that I added was this wah piano. Once again, this is dance music. So even though this song has this super open feeling, I still wanted it to dance a little bit. And so that's the last element that I added to the chorus. So that was like my thought process for the synths, was to just kind of add things that enhance the vibe, make it a little bit more dancey, but I still wanted it to feel more on the open side and more atmospheric and euphoric, I guess. And so then after that, like, that was the end of the chorus. So I remember my song of the day, I was trying to do a verse and a chorus. At that point, I had a verse and a chorus. I love a good post chorus. And so since we're on synths, I'll kind of dive into the synths of the post chorus. And what I decided to do there was just expand the width of the song when I got to the post chorus. And by doing that, I mean taking the elements I already have and layering them, but putting them wider in the stereo field so that when you get to the post chorus, it opens up even more and you really get more of that euphoric experience. On two different synths, I think that's what's happening, is I just mirrored that line. Let me just check and make sure. Just mirrored the line, and I think I played with the filter to make it open and close a little bit so it had some movement. Same thing on the right side though, with a different sound. So boom, I mean, just those two synths, adding it with the main synth, like, I'll let you guys hear how it opens up. Boom. And then once you have that big open canvas, then it's like I can really like nerd out and get into like glitchy things. And I just wanted it to feel, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to make electronic music. So I really want it to feel super electronic, and things are changing, things are glitching, things are moving around. So next thing I added was I had this eighth note pulsating pad thing come in, which sounds like this. It's something granular that's reversed and it's filtering. Same with this. I think most of this comes from the autochroma. Like I ended up feeding some sounds through there and then bouncing them in place and then kind of manipulating them. And I remember how I made this riser. I was looking for a certain sound, couldn't find anything like it, and this is 100% just me making like the noise. That's 100% what this is. That is just me making that with my mouth, and then like affecting it to death where it doesn't sound like that's what that is. But yeah, if I put all these effects together, it sounds like this. I would say under the name Losis, what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to push myself to be creative electronically, be open to sounds and new sounds, exploring new sounds, being okay with things sounding weird. Like, I really want to push myself to try to be weirder with the electronic music. And I had just gotten the uh very speed for Ableton, the I can't remember what it is, but the Max, Ableton Max very speed. So these are 100% me experimenting with the very speed. A lot of this is just I got some new plugins and I just was trying things out with them. So I needed something here, so I added these vocals. So now I can show you guys that whole breakdown section. Another thing that I did with the vocals that I really liked, or this song in general, was I did kind of the whole James Blake is the first person I know to do this. That doesn't mean he's the first person to do this. But James Blake has songs where he'll pan the vocals hard left, hard right. So the vocals on the outside. And that's also what I did with this song was my lead vocals are panned hard left, hard right, and I doubled them. So I had to keep all my instruments more in the center because the vocals are on the outside, which normally I'm panning my instruments outside and my vocals are in the center. I think I used Crystallizer on probably the same chords. Uh, oh, I know what this is. I chose to, which is this is something I've always wanted to do, which was explore the idea of making like my own symphony and strings and really deep diving, because sometimes when you're producing for other people, they may want strings, but sometimes I feel like I have to dumb down my string arrangements to fit inside of other people's songs, because like strings can really take up a lot of sonic space, and if you have like a bunch of counterpoint moving throughout the strings, that can sometimes get lost. It might just be too much movement, too much harmony, too many things. But this is my music. And so for my music, I get to do what I want to do. So I got to, I wanted to do an elaborate string arrangement. I went through, automated all this stuff, real dedication to this. But then obviously the highlight of the strings is the first time the strings play that first section. That is the unique section because they are the main character of that moment. And that was pretty much that with the strings. Then another thing that I did that I thought was cool. It's just extra layers, but it helped grow the section, which was I did some vocal pad things. Also something I don't do a lot, but as you can see, every single time it goes through the vocal pads, I add a new layer. So I can show you guys that. I want to hear the strings and the vocal pads together, me personally. So let's hear it. That's I mean, honestly, it just dawned on me. That's all I did on this song was I took one simple idea and thought about how can I manipulate that one idea as much as possible to keep developing the idea. Because I didn't want to make a new idea. I really liked that first idea that I had. So a lot of what I was doing was just taking what I already had and enhancing it or manipulating it, throwing it into a granular synth, crystallizer. Like I'm just taking a simple idea and maximizing it, like really, really maximizing it. The very last section of the song is just a down chorus, but I thought the down chorus would help tie everything together and connect lyrically. So that was my only goal was just to connect. I stripped everything down to just a basic piano. And I tried to give it some texture. So I doubled the piano and I think I ran it through. Or is it just reversed? Yeah, it's the Imagerio Piano 2. And I reversed it. So, because like I said, I do want to strip it down. I want it to feel plain, but I also don't want to leave the electronic space. I don't want it to feel like a ballad in that sense. So I felt like I had to do something to the piano to make it still feel electronic. That's the last section of the song. So I hope that you guys go check out the song. It's on all platforms. It's called Double Down by Losis. Um, I love it a lot. To me, it's my favorite Losis song of all the Losis songs because it means the most. Like lyrically, it means the most to me. It's always a reminder. Like I can always put it on. It calms me down and it just reminds me that like, hey, Tori, you can double down.